to Cocktails, Conversations, and Lessons in Philanthropy, where we give it to you straight, no chaser, because it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yes, it is.
My guest today is CEO, head chick in charge, April Walker, CEO and founder of Philanthropy for the People. Hello, doll.
Hello, happy to be here with you.
Yes. What you
Cheers.
drinking on, doll?
I am drinking a champagne bourbon cocktail. Have you had one of these?
I have not.
You take some bourbon, you take some Prosecco, you add a little vanilla, maybe some lemon juice and simple syrup if you're feeling fancy, and you have yourself a good time.
Okay, well, I'm having just some around the house items. That sounds like a delight. It sounds like some deliciousness in a glass. I'm having some vodka, a little lemonade, and some strawberries that I threw in there for pomp and circumstance.
Delicious. I will have one of those when I see you.
Absolutely. I'll drink to that.
Cheers.
So the purpose of Cocktails and Conversations is to just give it to you straight, no chaser, hit it and quit it, a lesson in philanthropy. And I'm intrigued by your journey. This is an unscripted, no holds barred conversation. Good people. And I'm intrigued by your journey. I'm intrigued, I'm encouraged by what you're doing through your craft, through your firm. Your vibration is high. And I just want to know, based on your lived experience, your professional experience, navigating this philanthropy trajectory you've been on, what's your lesson for the good folks listening, tuning into us?
Yeah, first of all, I love that you're doing this. I love the question you posed. Something immediately came to mind for me when you put it in front of me. And that was specific to how deeply political philanthropy is, even though we don't treat it as such. It's not a conversation you can often have inside of nonprofits. Many organizations are afraid of advocacy, much more so lobbying, though both of those are still legal. They just come with a bit more red tape. But we treat political fundraising as this huge outlier when everything about money in this country is political, and you could not begin to convince me otherwise. So much of what I've seen, as you mentioned in my journey as a fundraiser, a consultant, a grant maker, has been about avoiding the conversation of just that the work is political and we don't want to say that.
The work is political and we don't want to talk about it. As a result, so those unspoken words, and I'm reminded of a quote by Sarah Jakes Roberts that, when I heard her say it, it was ingrained on my mind. Unspoken words wound souls. So the unspoken words, the unspoken politics, the elephant in the room that people are not willing to talk about. Talk about what the consequences are or the takeaways, the implications. Talk a little bit more about that. And I'll drink to that because it's not often that you can have a candid conversation with a sister and, go here. I'm wanting to hear a little bit more about this.
Yeah, I'm happy to. For me, it manifests in a number of ways. It manifests not only in who is in a seat to make a decision, it manifests in how even missions take shape, right? Is your mission starting from a place of, we have to keep youth away from violence? Or are you looking at the assets that quite frankly already exist? We have people around nonprofit board tables that come from very distinct backgrounds, but we're presuming that we have a value alignment, and we don't. The mission might be bringing us together, and then we go vote and engage in communities in very disparate ways, right? Some people are still very much of a charity mindset. They're not of a mindset that communities and individuals have their own solutions for the problems they're facing, and that those problems were created by policies that are political, that are racist and discriminatory by intention, right? So we keep trying to create interventions that don't look at the source of that racism and discrimination, and then we invite people not from those communities to fuel solutions not vetted by those communities, and we pat ourselves on the back for that. I just have a problem with it. And it's not to say that I will write it all off. I know that great things still happen. I know you, just like I do, know incredible nonprofit leaders doing incredible work and fundraisers that are making it all happen. And yet, So many fundraisers end up in positions where somebody has just said something really crazy to me, and I gotta swallow this crazy thing so that I can get this $50,000 check.
I gotta drink. Listen.
Cheers.
I know that pain.
Yes.
I know that pain, and my pain and my challenge with that very thing has been at what cost to me. Like, what's the real expense associated with me being silent, with me hearing what I heard, with me being microaggressed, with the organization that is working to address whatever inequity you want to name, and acting as though I don't see and hear the inequity that's in front of me, to be a recipient of somebody's support like that, I'm paying a price in doing that. I'm paying a price personally, right? I'm swallowing those unspoken words that wound souls. I'm paying a price personally. I'm paying a price professionally, because for every time I've not said something that I felt deeply convicted and led to say, there was a cost to me. There was some remorse. There was a lesson, that teachable moment that was not fruitful, right? Fruitful, brought to bear, however you want to name it, because I swallowed it and wore that smile and wore that mask.
Absolutely. And your initial comment just about how painful, right, it has been, what it's like to carry some of that, especially if you're inside of an organization where you are the only one, or if there are a few of you, or if you're in competition, because we could talk about that, with the other Black person that's in the environment, and what that costs you. And I think why we see so many women, men otherwise leaving or shifting how they engage with the sector, it's because it's really expensive. It is really expensive. And I've been in positions now as a consultant where people have asked me to help, smaller organizations build their fundraising acumen. And I kind of push against that, because if you write a grant proposal, or even if you don't, it's not an indication of the quality of work you're providing, right? And so we want everybody to fit into this one particular box, instead of looking at how truly engaging, impactful, how much trust they have of the community, making it easy on people that aren't going to visit that community to determine if they're going to cut a check for it. And like you, I've swallowed a lot. I've been around tables with people with deeper pockets than I currently have. I won't say deeper than I will ever have, because we're going to speak abundance and prosperity. Come on. With deeper pockets than I currently have, but maybe very well will have in the future, who have asked me questions about violence in Baltimore, where I'm from, violence in Chicago, and why these cities are so difficult and rough, and who have explicitly asked me why I didn't go protest in 2020. A, what does it have to do with your philanthropy? And B, how much of my job is actually to educate you? How expensive is that additional emotional, spiritual, mental labor? How much are you actually willing to learn? Does it just feel good for you to be in conversation with me because you like the way that I talk? You like the way that it feels? So it's a lot that goes into it. And I'm always like, well, where did your money come from? How can you have a curiosity about violence or interventions when you've only ever known prosperity and wealth generation?
Things that make you go, Well, I'll drink to that lesson, that enlightenment that you've experienced, and coming to know that it's very much political. It's very much, relationship driven. We know that the work that we do is highly relational. What I'm learning from what I'm hearing, and when I think about my day-to-day experiences, is learning to calculate the cost, right? The true cost. What is the cost for me to A, turn a blind eye, or to B, use my voice and use my platform, right? And address the elephant in the room, right? Is these politics that inform how resources are directed, resources that can make or break an organization. And where I come from, there were small mom and pop organizations, if you will, and I know that I'm not the only one, that were holding up neighborhoods on their shoulders. So a political decision or a decision being made not to fund this particular organization because they don't have a big grand website. They don't have the most beautiful, their website isn't a, beauty pageant. And because their board members may not be as well connected, but they're saving lives and feeding hungry bellies.
Yeah. And people know that they are valued when they're in relationship with those leaders, right? Versus other organizations where it feels very cold, it feels very performative, it feels very much like you're pushing towards getting a survey so that you can display an outcome that is kind of absent my humanity, which is why I named my business what I did, Philanthropy for the People. Are the people all right, Kia? That's what I keep coming back to. Are the people all right? I think that in addition to, if this was like lesson 0.1, I would add, specific to the resources, how much work we do to just avoid giving direct cash assistance. How much of this becomes about, we're going to do everything except help people pay bills, help people fix what they need to fix. We're going to do all these other services and programs absent money that has largely been stripped from your community in a sector that is about the transfer and exchange of dollars for a service, right?
Love of humanity, don't forget about that.
And that was created to fill a gap the government is not able or interested in filling, right? We don't want them doing everything. And yet we're in community with philanthropists, big P, little p, however you want to put it, who require a level of praise, who require accolades, who require lauding, who can submit their legacy without consideration for the continued detriment and exploitation of other legacies. Just a thought.
Well,
lesson, but I gave you.
Well, there's no shortage of, I think you've given folks a lot to think about, sis.
Well, that's because I'm talking to you.
And I appreciate it. And I appreciate you for joining me on this segment, this inaugural segment of Cocktails, Conversations, and Lessons in Philanthropy, where we talk about it and give it to you straight, no chaser.
I love that.
I will drink to that. And until next time, stay tuned.